Recapping the Saints' day 3 draft, he kept adding to the defense, and Brandon Staley kept sending a message of what he wants. You may have had a major steal in round 6 and 2 really intriguing developmental players in round 7. Watch some film, break it down. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. So breaking it down, you're going to start in the 4th round. I like both of these picks, and I think this is a continuation of the message Brandon Staley and the Saints started sending in the 3rd round. A couple players that bring a lot of athletic ability, bring a lot of physicality, are not afraid to run up and hit people and try to stop the run. In fact, linebacker from Oklahoma, Danny Stutsman, that's kind of his forte. Let's go ahead and look at a couple films and a couple breakdowns. 4th round pick at number 112, Danny Stutsman, linebacker, Oklahoma. A lot of people had a 3rd round grade on this young man. 4 years at Oklahoma, 6'3", 233 pounds, and in his 4 years from 2021 to 2024, the last 3 years, 100 plus tackles each year. He's got 8 career sacks, 20 plus tackles for loss in his career. A really, really good run stopper that can bring a pass rush. His biggest downside that kind of gets talked about a little bit, he might be a little average or below average in coverage, but because he does bring that pass rushing ability, there is a thought he still could be a moderate 3-down linebacker in the league. And I think he's a guy that you've got really, really good value in grabbing him in the 4th round. If for no other reason is we need to improve the run defense, and a guy like this should be able to just come in right away and help out with improving the run defense. If he gets a little better in coverage, he's going to be pushing for some really big time playing time with one guy again in DeMario. We don't know how long we're going to have him, and another guy in Pete Werner going. The one thing he does well is play the run, but Pete doesn't bring you much coverage or pass rush. So this could be a one to really watch, and I think I don't know if this is the Saints stole one, but I think they got a lot of really, 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 really good value with this pick at 112. So our second 4th round pick, number 131 overall, another kind of older prospect. 6 years in college, he had 3 at Middle Tennessee State, 3 at Louisville. He was a redshirt his first year in 2019 at Middle Tennessee. A track star, a speedster, came in with a 4.48 40-yard dash, and literally a track star because he did run track in college. 5'11", 194 pounds. But this guy plays with just a lot of athletic ability and a lot of ability to play the ball. So from basically 2020 to 2024, those 5 years in college, his career 15 interceptions, housed 2 of them on pick sixes, and 39 pass breakups. So he can get around the ball and do some stuff, a lot of it with his speed and quickness, and seems to be pretty scheme versatile as far as being able to play man and play some zone, which is good because, again, our new coaching staff is talking about scheme versatility on both sides of the ball. I think the biggest downside you kind of get from him, while he is fast, it's a little smaller guy, smaller frame, and it looks like kind of the biggest downside that people throw at him is he can get basically out physical both in re- receivers getting some separation on him and also in the running game. But for the most part, I think again another great value pick, solid um, pick for a 4th rounder. And look, conceivably a guy when you look at his ball skills on his highlights, and the way he flies in, and talking about his strength and maybe lack of physicality, he certainly has bad intent because you can see the highlights coming up on the run or coming up on a short pass. He is ready to hit somebody and tackle them. And I'm seeing over our 2 4th round picks, Brandon Staley really trying to bring an athletic, hit them hard, stop the run mentality to this team, and we desperately, desperately need it. No 5th rounder, but in the 6th round, a guy that I think be a 3rd or 4th rounder in almost any other draft as a running back, but in this one, it was so deep. kind of got caught in the wash. And I think we may have a really, really, really big time player here, possible one of the steals of the draft. Now, we had to skip around in the draft. We didn't have a fifth, but we had a six. And I feel like we might have, this goes maybe a little beyond the value pick. You might out and out have a steal right here in running back Devin Neal from Kansas. 5'11, 213 pounds. Decent size for an NFL running back. He's not exactly small, so that's good because he is a kind of break some contact, make people miss type running back. In his 4-year career at Kansas, he has just staggering production out there. He's had 3 1,000-yard seasons. All 4 years he was in the Big Ten. 3 of them he made Big Ten honorable mention. One time second team All Big Ten. That's that's kind of impressive just right there that one player can do that 4 years running. The amazing thing is his career numbers: 4,343 rushing yards for a 5.7 average, 49 rushing touchdowns. He also had a 711 receiving yards at a 9.2 average per catch. So he brings a lot of production with him. The biggest problems that he had when you're looking at him being a 6th-round pick is he ran a 4.58, little on the slower side, but causing some concern about early burst, basically getting to or through the hole and long speed. And I think this being just a massively heavy running back class, the first time in a long, long time, and you had so many running backs with high production and better measurements, speed, that burst, a lot more questions that NFL teams felt comfortable with. He slides all the way down to the 6th. But I think in a normal year, he is that sweet spot running back most drafts have in that 3rd to 4th round mix that can really, really just show up and help a team. And a popular comp is an example of that because a lot of times he is comped with his rushing and receiving ability to Rashad White of Tampa Bay, who was in that range. And for 2 years for Tampa Bay, he's been pretty good. So if we just drafted a Rashad White type guy in the 6th round, I kind of feel like I think we might have to label that an actual steal, but it is a great value pick. And then looking at the 7th round, um, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the tight end from UCLA totally off my radar. I had to go look up stuff on him, but I'm kind of impressed with what I saw, and I knew a little bit about Fadil Diggs. And when we drafted him, I said very intriguing prospect, and it's going to take some work and some development. But the Saints may have something here eventually with these 2 picks. So our first 7th round pick, number 248 overall, Moliki Matavao. Hope I got that right. Tight end from UCLA. 6'6", 263 pounds, 4-year player for UCLA. He is 22 years old, so fairly young prospect that we got at this round. He is a developmental guy throughout his years in UCLA. If you look from his freshman year to his senior year, every year he improved his catches, his yards, his average yard per catch. It's a guy that got better and better. And for his size and athletic ability, it's something that's intriguing. He's still a raw prospect. His route running, his separation, his blocking, all the stuff you really need an NFL tight end to do. But he's got some tools to work with. It's pretty evident when you watch his film and you kind of look at his numbers. And one of the things he was really good his senior year as a tight end. He averaged in YAC yards after catch 7.0 yards. I think there's a lot here that the Saints can build off of. Could one day, if he makes the roster, could develop into something. But you've got a good basis to start with him and see what you can turn him into. A lot of this is going to be on the Saints coaching staff to get him better, but I think you got a starting point and something to work with, and a pretty decent pick in the 7th round. The other 7th round pick for the Saints, number 254 overall, Syracuse defensive edge Fadil Diggs. And here's a young man. He has the size at 6'5", 261 pounds, athletic ability that you're kind of looking for that odd front edge rusher that the Saints are going to be moving to come off and get after the quarterback. 8 sacks in Syracuse in his 1 year there, equals the total he had his 2 previous years at A&M. So, again, much like UCLA tight end we just talked about, an improving guy with a tool set that translate a basic tool set that translate to the NFL, but he's going to have to get a whole lot better at everything required to be an NFL level edge rusher. But once again, it's a 7th round pick with some production, some ability that's going to have to be developed by the Saints coaching staff. So to wrap it up, I mean, if I had to put a grade, and I'm sure some of you are going to ask, this is to me B plus A territory overall on the picks. You have chances. You brought in some of these guys with production, some of them with potential, young players for the most part, and the older ones are the ones that bring a lot of production with them. I think all in all, if you're trying to rebuild, and that signal I think is being sent and picked up on some other people covering the Saints, you have a foundation maybe to start it. I can see, and I'm not telling you every single person taken in this draft, especially the day 3 guys, is going to be what we think they're going to be. But I think you got some real chances, some real good prospects to work with. And down here, the day 3 guys, that they can show up and make the roster and push out. I think I've said this in a couple of I know I've said this in a couple of the previous draft videos, is when you go pull up our roster and look at every position, the guys on the back end, veterans, and some of them making substantial salary, and probably most of them we're going to need to move on from in the next year or two. At least you're starting the process of bringing in these guys because, look, I think it's been a long, long time since the Saints on day 3 were actually looking to draft players that are going to play through their rookie contract, get on the field, and contribute. I think most of the time it was, I don't know. Some of them we never really given a chance to see what they could or couldn't do. And then they're off the roster somewhere afterwards. Almost like we were going with our roster is so awesome. These guys aren't going to make it. We'll just have to pick somebody. They'll probably hang out on the practice squad and we'll get rid of them later. I'm not saying that was the mentality, but looking from the outside in, that's what it felt like. These picks feel like something entirely different, that some of those guys on the back end of the Saints roster better wake up and take notice that, hey, we finally brought in some guys that could legitimately show up and start taking some of your jobs. And in the day 3 guys, we brought in some guys that could legitimate take your job, and we'll develop them and they'll be better at it than you were. And they'll move up the depth chart. So even if you stick around as a veteran player, yeah, you might not get as much playing time and all that other stuff as you think. Not saying it's going to happen, but this is a draft, especially again, we're covering day 3, where I feel like you got some guys on this list with Stutsman, Riley, Neal that can make some noise almost immediately in 2025. And the 2 7th rounders, I mean, it feels like you got something to work with there, and let's see what they can do. So overall, I'm happier about a day 3 draft for the Saints than I've been in a long, long time. Hope they keep building on it. I hope that coaching staff is for real, because they're gonna make a difference in developing these guys and getting them into scheme fits like they've been preaching to us. I think they've got 5 players right here that hey, all right, guys, impress me. Let's see what you can do with these young men. So there you go. That kind of wraps up the 3rd. Again, we're doing trilogies right now, but day 1, day 2, this is day 3. I'll have day 1s and 2s up on the screen, on the end screen here in a second. Go back, watch them. This is the great thing. Y'all get to pound me in the comments, and I'm sure you will, about some of my thought process on these picks. And it's going to be here forever. So the receipts will be saved. And, at some point in 2025, we'll know for sure. So see you during the week. We'll keep going on the roster and where we're heading. OTAs and minicamp will be starting soon. So that's going to be the next focus. Until I see you next time, I'm Tim. Peace out and who dat.